So today our lecture is about the compound angle of trigonometry. So what's the meaning of the compound angles? If we have sum of two angles, just like this one, we have to memorize the first result. The first result of trigonometry is this one. The first result we have to memorize this one as if I have the sine of sum of two angles. Sine of sum of two angles, sine of A plus B. Then in mathematics, the proof of this identity is not in your syllabus, but the application in your syllabus. And these formulas already given in your formula sheet. So you have this one, the sine of A and cos of B. You have to write the plus over here, then you have to write the plus sign over here. Then you have to change the angles. It becomes sine of B and cos of A. That is the first formula to find the sum of two angles. And if we have the minus over here, just like this one, if we have the minus over here, then you have to put minus over here. So that is called the first compound angle formula of trigonometry. The second formula is this one. If we have the cosine cos of A plus B, then that formula already given in your formula sheet, that will be is equal to the cos of A and cos of B. This sign will be reversed. So which sign will be reversed? This sign will be reversed. If you have plus over here, that becomes minus over here. So you have to put the minus sign and then you have to write both the sign. So sine of A times sine of A times sine of B. So that's the second expansion of this formula. Third one, that is very important. That is, if you have the minus over here, then it becomes plus over here. The signs of angles between these two, the sign will be reversed. The third formula, I will write with the green marker, just like this one. Tan of A plus B. Tan of A plus B is equal to the, I have to write this one as, that becomes tan of A, that is the first angle which is given over here, and the plus means the plus over here. Then we have the tan of B divided by 1 will be as it is, the plus becomes the minus sign, and tan of A into tan of B. And the same case is over here. If we have the opposite sign, just like the sign is over here, if we have the negative sign over here, that becomes negative and that becomes positive. So these three identities, these three results we have to use over here. So all these three results are called, basically these are the 6 results, and generally we have 3 results, and these 3 results are called the compound angle formulas of the trigonometry. Now I have the topic. The topic is very simple in this case. After doing these formulas already is used in our already given in the formula sheet. So our next topic is, already we have done this type of the topic in AS level. So method to find exact trigonometric ratio when one ratio is given. when one ratio is given. What's the meaning of this one? Just we have the recap of the AS level. So just over here with this marker, a revision of AS level. Question is this one: if the sine of any angle is given, is suppose that 3 by 5, then find find the value of the cos of A and tan of A. This type of the question already we have done in previous classes in the AS class. So as we know that when the answer of a trigonometric ratio is given, that answer is always belonging to the some right angle triangle. So I have to make a right angle triangle. That triangle is supposed we have to draw with this color. So that is called the right angle triangle. With this color. Now we have to write the names of this triangle. Suppose this point is A, suppose this point is C, suppose this point is B. If this angle is of 90 degrees, that is called the right angle triangle. And suppose this angle is any angle in this question, that angle is A. Now what will you do? As we know that the sine is the ratio of the side of the right angle triangle. So according to my knowledge, the sine is always equal to the perpendicular upon base. So the sine is always perpendicular upon base. Just we have this one is sine of any angle A in this case is equal to the perpendicular upon base. Sorry, perpendicular upon hypotenuse. But in this case is 3 by 5. So this 3 means that is called the perpendicular, and this 5 means that is called the hypotenuse. So you have this one, that is the hypotenuse, the longest side of the triangle, and this one is the perpendicular. When we use the Pythagoras theorem, we have to find the base of this triangle. This implies by using the Pythagoras theorem, b square plus 3 square, that becomes 5 square. If I am not wrong, that b becomes plus minus 4. But in this case, in AS level, we have this one is plus 4. Negative sign will be removed. Now I will find the value of, suppose, what's the value of the cos of A? So this implies cos of A means base upon hypotenuse, and in this case, the base is 4. So I can write this one, the exact value of this cos of A is 4 upon 5. Similarly, the value of the tan of A is equal to the perpendicular upon base. In this case, the perpendicular is 3 and the base is 4. So these are called exact values of this trigonometric ratios. The first value is this one. The second value is this one. This type of the question already we have done in AS level. Now I have to solve a little bit different questions involving two angles. First, I will solve the basic terms, and then I have to solve some complicated questions. Now, in this today's question, I have this one is, if I have this question, if a cos of, suppose that A is equal to the minus 5 by 13, and A is obtuse angle. Obtuse angle, then find then find the first one is you have to calculate a tan of angle A. Second, you have to find cosecant of angle A. These two answers you have to calculate with the figure. But in this case, we have the angle obtuse. When angle is more than 90 degree, and when angle is more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree, then the angle is said to be obtuse angle. And we have to draw in this question, in this type of the questions, we have to draw the quadrant of the triangle, in which quadrant this triangle must lie. So I am over here. This is the suppose the situation over here. This is the first quadrant and this one the second quadrant, just like this one, this one. We have, this is called the first quadrant, if I'm not wrong. This is called the second quadrant, if I'm not wrong. And this is called the third one. And this one is called the fourth one. These fourth quadrants we have to use over here. Now, the first of all, we have to observe where this angle is lying. Where this angle is lying obtuse. So you have to start from the angle, the positive x-axis. So I will start an angle starting from the positive x-axis and moving in the second quadrant, because the A is given in the second quadrant. So I have to write this one over here. Suppose this angle is this one. Just like this. Am I right? Now this angle, according to the question, that angle is given. That angle starting with this one, that angle is equal to A angle. That angle is equal to A angle. Now you have to draw a triangle, a right angle triangle, because whenever the sine cos tan is given, that angle is ratio is always possible with the help of the right angle triangle. So you have to draw a triangle in such a way that the base must be x-axis. So the base must be x-axis. So the base will be just like this one. You have to draw this triangle. So this is the right angle triangle. Now remember that this is the angle A, that is called general angle, and this is angle which is acute with x-axis. This will also be A. Why this will be A? In when I have this type of the angle, so in all the cases, the answer of the trigonometric ratios, must be same. The numerical answer will be same. What's the meaning of this one? Suppose A is equal to the suppose that A is equal to the 60 degree, not 60 degree. Suppose A will be equal to the over here. That A will be equal to the suppose 120 degree. Because that is obtuse angle. Obtuse means more than 90, less than 180. And what should be this angle? The internal angle, and that will be is equal to the 60 degree. So if you want to find the sine of angle 120 degree, and you want to find the sine of angle 60 degree, you want to find the cos of angle 120 degree, and you want to find the cos of angle 60 degree, you have to find the tan of 120 degree, and you have to find the tan of 60 degree. Now I have to use the calculator over here. That's my calculator. The first of all, I will find the sine of 120 degree. That's the sine over here of 120 degree. So answer will be 0.8. Sorry, the question, the calculator is already given in the radian mod. We have to write in the degree mods. So how you will write this one as is a setup of, now this one is shift we have to apply over here. So where is the angle? Radian, gradient, radian. So I have to write the T over here. And I have to write the mod of this one is, the mod of the calculator is not one that is cut over here. Okay. Now the angle is in terms of the degree. So I have to find the sine of 120 degree. What's the angle of the sine over here? 120 degree, if I'm not wrong. So that is root 3 by 2. So you have to write root 3 by 2. And the answer of this one is also root 3 by 2. I have to find the cos of 120 degree. So that's the all clear cos of 120 degree. Answer is minus 1 by 2. And I have to write minus 1 by 2 over here. And that is plus 1 by 2 over here. The last one I have to find the 120 degree. So the last one is I have to find 120 degree. There is a tan. That is a tan 120 degree. That is minus root 3. Now, what's the difference over here? The numerical values of the 120 and the 60, 120 and the numerical values are same of the sine and cos and tan. What's the difference is the sign before these two answers. The sign means the positive and the negative. So in the second quadrant, both the angles are positive, the sign is positive, so you have both the same answer. In second quadrant, the cos is negative, so we have this one 120 is negative and 60 is positive. And tan is in second quadrant is negative and over here. So these two angles are same. Remember that just you have to find the sign. They may be negative, they may be positive from this one. Now again, up to over here, we have the cos of A means minus 55 by 13. So minus 5 will be over here. I write for the 5 and 13 over here. So when you use the Pythagoras theorem, that becomes plus minus 12. Now you have to write the sign of the side starting from this origin. Origin, if you move along the negative x-axis, that will be minus 5. And if you move the positive y-axis, that will be the positive. And remember that the hypotenuse is always positive. Now you have to find the two trigonometric ratios. That's a very simple. Over here, the first of all, I will change the color of my marker. That will be supposed that the blue, not blue, that will be supposed that the red. So what's the answer of the tan of A? Tan means the perpendicular upon base. The perpendicular is 12, base is minus 5. So you have to write 12 by minus 5. If you have the any sign of numerator or denominator is a negative, the whole fraction becomes negative. The answer is minus 12 by 5. The second one, I have the cosine. Cos is already given. No, I have to find the cosecant. And remember that cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine. So you have to find the sine of angle A. Sine of A means perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So that becomes 12 upon 13. And what's the answer of the sine cosecant? Because cosecant means the reciprocal of the sine. So that becomes cosecant of A becomes 13 by 12 if I'm not wrong. So that's the answer over here that you have to use this one. The next one is I have to apply when two angles are given. So when two angles are given, then what will you do? Over here, suppose I will erase, not I will erase, I have to move this in the upward direction. Now we have two angles, just like this one. The first, my question is, if sine of A is equal to the 5 by suppose 13 and cos of A is equal to the minus 3 by 5, and the range of the angle is given over here. The range of the angle A is this one. That is lying in second quadrant. Second quadrant means the angle is more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree. That is called the second quadrant. And similarly, we have this one, the cos is negative, and the cos is negative third quadrant. So less 180, less than B, and less than, suppose over here, 270 degree. This is not A, this one is the B. Question is find, question is find the sine of A plus B and tan of A minus B. Exact answer you have to calculate. Now, after doing some practice, I will make it short. How will I make it short? First of all, I have to write this information. I have to write this information in a graphical mode. What's the meaning of this one? So first of all, I have to make the quadrants. This was the first quadrant, and this one is second quadrant. Similarly, with the other color, we have to draw this one. Suppose the black is, the second one is over here, and the next one is over here. No, I will draw two lines. I will draw two lines. The sine of A is 5 by 13 and A is more than 90, less than 180 degree. So that must be the second quadrant with the help of a suppose blue over here. Next one is the B is more than 180 degree and B must be over here. B must be over here, if I'm not wrong. Now, what are the angles? The angles are over here. So this, the first angle is starting from here. That angle, according to the statement, that angle is A. Starting always positive x-axis, that angle is called angle B. But I have to find the acute angles. That must be equal to the A. That acute angle with the x-axis, that must be equal to the B. Now I have to make a triangle in such a way that the triangle base has the along x-axis. So the base of the triangle must be along x-axis. So I have this one. That's the right angle triangle. And that's the right angle triangle. Now I have to write the unknown quality, unknown values. So that is over here. That is over here. So unknown values. A means perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So that is the 5 is the perpendicular, hypotenuse is this one. And in the case of the B, that is base upon hypotenuse, that is the 3, that is equal to 5. Now we have to find the unknown values. So using the Pythagoras theorem, that 13 square becomes 169, 5 square becomes 25, that becomes plus minus 12. And remember that in the second quadrant, the x-axis, the base is along negative x-axis, that means minus 12. Over here, the base is negative, the minus 12, and Pythagoras theorem, that will becomes 4. And this perpendicular is along the negative y-axis, that becomes the minus 1. I have to find the value of the sine, cos, and tan of A, sine, cos, tan of angle B. So I will use this one over here from the first figure. The sine of A is 5 by 13. What's the answer of the cos of A? Base upon hypotenuse, that becomes minus 12 by 13. What's the answer of the tan of A? That is equal to the perpendicular upon base, 5 upon minus 12. Changing the color of my, so I have this one is, what's the answer of the cos of B is over here? What's the sine of B? Sine is perpendicular upon hypotenuse, minus 4 by 5. What's the answer of the tan of B? Tan of B means perpendicular upon base. These minus signs will be cancelled out and I will get 4 by 3. Now I have to find the first answer. What is the beta first answer is I have to find the first part of this my question, changing the sign of the marker. Suppose now the sign, the marker is just like green mark. So I have to find sign of A plus B. According to the formula that very first I explained, that is called the compound angle formula. I have this one is sine of A and cos of B. The plus sign will remain plus and the minus sign will remain minus. You have to change the angles. A becomes the B and B becomes the A. So you have to write the sine of B and cos of A. Put the values. Sine of A, you have to use the different color. Suppose the color is over here, the red. The sine of A answer is always given 5 by 13. Multiply by, you have to write the cos of B. What's the answer of cos of B is minus 3 by 5. Plus sign will remain as it is. What's the answer of the sine of B? Sine of B is minus 4 by 5. What's the answer of answer of the cos of A? Cos of A is minus 12 by 13, if I'm not wrong. So we have to use the calculator a lot. How will you use the calculator? This is the calculator. So all clear. The first bracket you have to use over here, and you have to fraction. The first one is 5 by 13. That becomes 5 by 13. So it becomes 5 by 13. Where is the 5 by 13? This one is 1 and this one is 3. Close the bracket. Then you have to multiply by this one. If I multiply over here, the second one is you have to close the bracket. So I will get this one over here. Then I have to multiply sine. Then I have to multiply by this one, the second fraction minus 3 by 5. There we have the minus 3 by 5. So what's the answer of over here when you use your calculator? So you have to multiply what's the answer of this one is. Not the math seller, so I have to, this one is, it becomes, when you use your calculator, it becomes a minus 15 by 165. Wait a minute. That's, if I'm not wrong, that becomes minus 15 by, wait a minute, internet is not performing well.